I just did something really stupid. God. Fucking hell. Man, I had the worst start to the morning today. So last night I went out drinking. I just clicked over 10,000 subscribers and I met a couple of friends. We went out for drinks and we came back to my place and partied and sort of drank all night. This morning I was a hungover mess and I went to the fridge. And let me go to a 7-Eleven. I can explain this better. So, this is funny already. Every morning I drink one of these. So this is like this one's strawberry. It's a juice basically, and it comes in like these weird little packets. I'll give you a good look. So it says collagen on it, which sounds like a face cream or something like that, but it's a juice, and they're really, really nice. Now, last night we went to a 7-Eleven after we were drinking, and the girls bought like a whole bunch of stuff, and I just threw it all in the fridge. And this morning, in my hungover state, I went to the fridge and I saw this, which if you look, looks like a kiwi fruit juice of the same thing. So basically, to me, they look identical. So I opened it and I just squeezed, like, you just squeeze it in your mouth. I just squeezed like this massive amount into my mouth. It's a fucking face cream. Like, I didn't know, like, the girls keep face cream in the fridge. I didn't know that. God, the taste. I felt like death before that. And honestly, I nearly spewed. I was just like, because I drank it and it just like went straight down my throat. Like I was swallowing it before I realized what it was. And God, just a terrible way to start the day. I couldn't get the taste out of my mouth for so long. I was like, oh. Anyway, now I'm gonna drink the real one. And then I need to get something to eat. I need to get some good flavor into my mouth. These are great. They're like a jelly kind of consistency. Oh, they're fucking awesome. This, not so much. Anyway, I'm replacing it for her. So next time she comes around, I have a new face cream for her. Well, luckily I am in the city that has some of the best food in the world. So let's go get some lunch. I love coming to these street food places. I love watching them make the food before you eat it. It's always like, it's so good. Like literally just cook it and bring it to you. Oh yeah, this looks and smells awesome. Yeah, I love like I'm always going on about it. I know, I love street food. I think tomorrow for my video, I'm just gonna eat street food all day. I'm just gonna eat all day. That sounds like a great video. It sounds like a hell of a lot of fun. I am excited for this. Oh yeah. So I tried something new. I have a habit of like getting the same thing all the time. It's just because I love it, but this is really good. It's like chicken fried rice. Yeah, feeling much better now. That was really good. 60 baht, unbelievably cheap. Great lunch. Yeah, I'm feeling in a much more positive mood now. But it's all good. Like, it is kind of funny, and I can definitely see the funny side to it. So I always say, if something shitty happens to you, but you get a good story out of it, then it's kind of worth it in a way. At the time, it wasn't worth it. It was fucking horrible, but I've recovered and it's all good. And yeah, it's a funny story, right? I will not make that mistake again, I can assure you. So this definitely gives me motivation to want to get better at, or learn how to read Thai. I can't read Thai. My speaking's getting better, but I still can't read. Mind you, in that state of mind this morning, I wouldn't have read anything anyway. I just drank it. It reminds me of a time like when I went to Korea the first time. You know, I couldn't speak any Korean, and I didn't know much about Korea. I actually tied it onto the end of a Japan trip. I was more interested in the Japan part than Korea. And when I got to the airport, like I could speak basically no Korean. I could say like hello, thank you, and like a few other little words basically, but I couldn't speak properly. So when I arrived at the airport the first time, I got off the plane. I went up to get in a taxi and get a taxi from the airport to my hotel. So I walked up to the first taxi and I told him, you know, where I was going, and he couldn't understand, which is fine, and I was kind of ready for that. So I'd screenshotted the name of my hotel and the address on my phone for him so that he could like punch it into his GPS or whatever. Then I realized like he's looking at my phone and he can't read English, and I was like, oh, okay. So I went to the next taxi and the same thing happened, and I went to the next taxi and I showed him and he couldn't read it either, and I was like, oh shit, is this like, am I in trouble here? So I went through like 5 taxis. There was a guy, like he was a few cabs down, and he could see what was going on and he could speak English. So he came up and he like asked what was happening, and I sort of explained it to him. And he's like, it's all good. Like he knew enough English to be able to like copy that and put it into his GPS, and he got me there. And he was actually much better than I thought. You know, we had like a little broken conversation in the car on the way there. It was a really fun experience. He actually ended up dropping me at the wrong hotel, but that wasn't entirely his fault. He dropped me to a place that had the same net. Korea's like Japan, you know, Korea's like here in that there's like tons of hotels that have the exact same name. So he dropped me at one, it was in the same neighborhood and the same name, but it was a different hotel to the one I was staying at. It's just like mass confusion when I checked in. I'm like, I walked in the place and he's like, we don't have your reservation. And I'm like, this is it. And they're like, I'm like, this is the name of the hotel, this is the place, this is my, like I had a confirmation booking. And he's like, oh, it's a different place. So it's just funny the things that happen to you while you're traveling. You know, I've had so many like random experiences like that. It was actually quite close and I could walk from one to the other, so it was all good. But this is one of the things I love about being in a different country and traveling and stuff. You get these like random experiences and funny stories. You know, I love it. So another time I was in the Philippines, I was in Manila, and I was actually it was the day I was leaving Manila. So I took a taxi to the airport, and I was like, everything, I was on time, everything's all good. So I usually leave quite early to go to the airport. I don't want to leave any room for for anything to go wrong basically. So I got a taxi from where I was staying in Manila to the airport. When I arrived at the airport, I didn't realize that there was a separate airport, like it's the same airport, but separate terminals for different airlines, and they're really far apart. Like it's not like you can just like walk from one to the other. So, you know, a lot of places like that, like Singapore and stuff like that, they've got like a little train, like the little electric trains that you can get. But Manila didn't have that, or not that I was aware of anyway. So when I got to the airport, I couldn't figure out like where I needed to check in. I was like, oh, this is like a total nightmare. So someone ended up telling me, and then I've like gone and jumped in another taxi and to go round to the other thing. So I hadn't been scammed by taxis once in Manila. Like I had no issues with taxis. They didn't try and, you know, give you a fake price or whatever. Everyone was like, you know, they just put the meter on every time, and there was no issues. So this one time, so the guy picks me up at the airport. He's like, oh, you just need to go to the other terminal, that's all good. And he took me around, and then we're on the way, and he hands me like a card that says like how much everything costs. And this was going to cost me, I think like $40, like 40 US dollars. And he wanted me to pay in US dollars. And I'm like, one, I'm Australian. And two, I've been like here in Manila, like I'm been in the Philippines for the last month. Like I don't have any US dollars. So yeah. Anyway, like we're back and forth about the price, and I'm not paying that. It's ridiculous. Like turn on the meter, and he wouldn't do it. So I ended up getting out. And I told him like, I'll give him, I don't know, it was only a couple of dollars that I was prepared to give him. Anyway, he was okay about that. He let me out. I got my bags out and everything. My bags were in the boot, and I was worried he was going to drive off, but he didn't. Like he was fine. So then I'm just like stuck on the side of this random road, and I'm like, yeah, there'll be another taxi come along. This like I'm near the airport. There's taxis all the time, but there was no other taxis, and I'm just like walking down. It's almost like a highway kind of thing. I'm like walking down my big bag, and God, total nightmare. Anyway, a guy ended up, just like some random guy ended up stopping, and he's like, where are you going? And I'm like, I explained to him what just happened. He was Filipino, and he's like Filipino people are so lovely. He's just like, oh, get in, I'll drive you. And I'm like really? And he's like, yeah, get in. Like it's just in his car. He was in his car with his family, and he's like, yeah, get in, we'll take you there, we'll take you to the right terminal, don't worry. And he's like, you know, people in the Philippines are not like this, you just like had a bad experience. So he was really nice, got me there, and it ended up being like quite a funny thing in the end. I love to travel, and I'm sure everyone watching this, you all love to travel as well. That's why you watch like a channel like this. So I want to hear your stories. So if anyone else, if you have any crazy stories about travel or whatever, leave it in a comment below. I will read it. So I receive around 200 comments each day, and I don't get back to all of them. I try and get back to some, but like I'm out shooting every day and editing and everything. But I can assure you, I read every single one of them. So if you have any cool stories, leave it, and it's, you know, like not too long for you to type. Leave it in a comment below, because I love hearing about things like this. Hopefully someone else has done something as stupid as me and eaten face cream, but I hope not for your sake anyway. So alright, I'm gonna wrap the video up here. Leave me a story below. I look forward to reading them. So as always, thanks for watching. See you next time. So every day people ask me the same thing, and one of the questions I get asked all the time, and every time I wear this shirt, is why is there tape on your shirt? It's not real tape, it's just printed on. You can see it's on the back too. It actually doesn't look that realistic, but when you see it on camera, it really does look realistic. So it's not tape, it's the t-shirt.